Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Above the Ring. I'm your host, Sam the SLB. Alongside me today is always the man behind the Twitter, the other half of this operation, Vince McMahon's voice of reason. It is Scott. Good morning, buddy. How are we doing this week?
Good morning, Sam. We are doing well. We had one hell of a final battle last night. We will talk about that later on, but my God, what a week too. Sam, let's dive right into that news, see what's going on.
Yeah, we will do that. But before we do that, make sure you listen to Scott's Raw Review, NXT Narrative, and SmackDown Study. They drop on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, respectively. Especially this week, so you don't want to miss it. Because NXT War Games had just come to pass. Scott watched it, live tweeted it, told you his thoughts. Definitely give it a listen. Wild week. Wild week. Scott, do you know what? Sorry, I like to build up the anticipation every time. Especially this time of year.
It's true.
This time of year. Folks, first and foremost, yes, this is going to be our second to last episode before the end of the year. Next week is our last episode of the year. We will talk about that next week in our plans going into 2022. But Scott, aside from it giving us our month break to relax and just kind of like decompress a little bit and just enjoy time with people, why also do we like this time of year?
Because I believe now we're only a few weeks away from Tokyo Dome.
Yes, we are. The countdown continues, guys. We are so close. And we have a little bit of news on that, I believe. But we're going to kick right off into some Uncharted. Not even Uncharted, just stuff we don't cover anymore on these shows. Jeff Hardy, boys and girls. Jeff Hardy was released by WWE after a few weeks ago. He just up and left house shows. He got released. From my understanding, he didn't have any, I don't know if he had any drug or drinking problems. My understanding, he's fine per his wife. And Scott, you might know a little more about this. It sounds like he denied or declined going to rehab.
Yes. From what I saw, it looks like he was having a really off day while he was on tour, doing like the live shows. So WWE decided to send him home. I guess there was some internal discussion about what possibly could be happening. Obviously, we really don't know. But yes, a rehab was offered to Jeff. Jeff declined. So WWE said, all right, well, sorry, gonna let you go. It's upsetting for a few reasons. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's Jeff was getting some of the biggest pops during the shows. So it kind of makes me wonder if something had happened, if he had fallen off the wagon, then that's extra upsetting because they were kind of gearing him towards some type of push again. If it wasn't that, and I mean, I've seen every explanation under the sun talking about what this could have been. Some people even going out and saying that he did this on purpose so that he could get released, so that way he could sit at home for 90 days and then show up with his brother. I've seen that, he was, a mess during a show and, he got fired afterwards, and it's, who knows? We really, unless we're Jeff, unless we're the higher ups of WWE, we don't know what happened. All I can do is hope for the best. If he needs help, I hope he's able to get it. There was such an outpouring of support from WWE and former WWE talent on Twitter the last couple of days. So I just hope the man's okay. If he decides to wrestle again, I'm sure it's going to be great. And it's going to be in AEW with his brother, because the Hardys have to have one more run, because that's just how it works. But I don't know. It's just a sad situation all around.
It is. I mean, he was doing pretty good from what we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
After his last DUI or his last drinking excursion, he seemed to be doing pretty well. And I hope he does do what he needs to do so he can get back in the ring sooner rather than later. But maybe we'll see him waltz over there with a couple of other good friends of ours, Mr. Johnny Gargano and Kyle O'Reilly, who are also now no longer contracted.
Yep. Official free agents as of this week. This past week's NXT was a little emotional.
I didn't watch it, but I saw the photos.
Yeah. Some good stuff. So I look forward to seeing what happens next. Unfortunately for both of them, they don't have the 90-day clause, so we don't know what's going to happen. I know Johnny's about to become a father for the first time in February, so who knows? He might be taking on some extended time. And if that's the case, God bless him. Let him have fun with his new family, and then who knows? Johnny Wrestling will show up somewhere, and wherever that happens, that place is instantly going to get one of the best performers in the world.
Incredible. One of the best sellers I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, God, I
know. Other tragic news, semi-tragic news. Chris Jericho on tour at Fozzy in the UK was hospitalized for a non-COVID related issue. He is out of the hospital now. I don't really think they clarified. And if he prefers to keep it private, that's perfectly fine. But he canceled 2 tour dates. Glad he's better. Glad he's healthy. Or as healthy as he can be. So we can get more incredible promos from the champion himself. And the week keeps getting wild. Super wild. So first and foremost, it has been confirmed that Hard to Kill, Impact Wrestling, Josh Alexander is going to take on our boy, Jonah.
Thick boy.
I believe that's January 6th?
I believe so. I didn't grab the date, but no, there's a lot of stuff happening in the beginning of the year. And I'm like, we might still be on sabbatical. We don't know yet.
Yeah, that's my goal. My goal is we're going to cover what we can. If not, we'll have to do maybe a big opening show for the year.
Right? Oh my God. That'd be like a 4-hour show.
I'm all about it.
Yeah, it's true. Sam likes his long podcasts. Like he can sit back and listen to like people like Rogan for like over a matter of like 4 days. Me, I'm like 20 minutes. All right, I'm done.
In 2 weeks, I got a 23-hour drive down to West Palm, and I'll tell you right now, the last time I did a long drive like that, I think I listened to like 4 of Rogan's podcasts.
Right, that's the thing. It's just 4 that covers 23 hours.
Yeah, you should listen. The music I listen to helps as well because that's also long.
Well, that'll keep you awake too.
Siri put on "Thick as a Brick" by Jethro Tull 23 times. So, bringing this up about Jonah, something was recently said. I don't know if this was in an interview, but it was an article I saw in What Culture where he wants to be the modern day Vader in New Japan.
I can see it. I can absolutely see it.
He's a monster.
Oh my God. Did you see, I think I might have sent this to you, that the latest splash that he did in Impact and just the camera angles that they had from it made it look absolutely spectacular. It's amazing. I loved it so much. Yeah, he's, for me, definitely one of the major surprise releases from NXT this past year, and he's already doing fantastic things. Like I can definitely see him being world champion much sooner rather than later.
Yeah, he has a lot of potential, this man. He's incredible. He just super talented. And with the other article you sent me, that was the tweet from the president of New Japan where they wanted to have 10 matches each night at the Tokyo Dome. You know, there's room. There's room for him.
That is very true.
No room too thick, my friends. On top of that, while we're on the New Japan topic, we have and I believe this might have been, so on December 15th, we're going to have the finals of the Best of the Super Juniors. Hiromu Takahashi and Yo from, I think it was Roppongi 3K.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, could be wrong. See, this is where I need to be more familiarized. I think the winner of this also becomes like the number 1 contender at the Tokyo Dome for the junior heavyweight title. Ooh. I think. think that's how that works. Let's.
It should. I like that actually. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Well, they have how many tournaments a year do they have?
I don't know. I need to watch more because Sam, you know how you know my love for tournaments. I really need to watch them more often. But hey, there's 1,000 things I need to watch more often. But life.
Oh, I understand. I'm looking for this while we Okay. Yeah, the winner, assuming that already the champion receives an opportunity to wrestle the Junior Heavyweight Championship not long after the tournament is over. So, let's, for argument's sake, go to last year. The winner was Hiromu Takahashi. And when... Oh, no, that's 2021. You don't have any... Oh, my... Did he not wrestle? I'm curious about this. I'm going to have to do some digging on that. But it would make sense for them to go to the Tokyo Dome.
Yeah, but the Tokyo Dome is like the ender of all feuds, the fresh slate for the next year. And it makes sense that, any tournament, stuff like that, the winner of that tournament should definitely get a shot at whatever title is deemed appropriate for that said tournament.
Yeah, and I just saw something else that we need to talk about in 2 seconds. That's shocking.
All the news. I love it.
Yeah, they don't say it on here. But at Wrestle Kingdom 16, I think it's at night 2, there will be a Stardom match.
What?
The sister promotion of New Japan Pro Wrestling, owned by Joshi Sports, I think. Yeah, this marks the 5th time Stardom has been a part of a New Japan event.
All right. Well, I'm happy that it's the 5th time. I was thought under the impression it would be the 1st time. So no, this is good.
This marks the 5th time. January 4th, and January 5th, 2020 and 2021 saw Stardom showcase match for live crowds in the Tokyo Dome. But I don't think they were on the card.
Maybe the pre-show,
the
dark match or whatever.
September 4th and 5th saw kickoff matches at Grand Slam. So this is all recent, anyways.
Nice.
I like it. This because we get so enthralled with the Tokyo Dome. I've become very familiar with the product that you don't even think about the women's matches. You don't even think about, oh yeah, there's no women in here, except for like the Tokyo Pimps, Yujiro Takahashi's valet, or Bea Priestley when she will come out with like the Empire. You kind of forget about it. You just like the wrestling is so good, but now we're gonna see some Stardom shit going on. Let's fucking go.
Right?
Man. Just so hyped, Scott. So hyped. So we're going to hop over to MLW. And seeing that Ring of Honor is starting, it's phasing out. And again, they plan on doing another Super Card of Honor, I think, in April. But there's a lot of maybes still up in the air.
Yeah.
This could be a PWG kind of scenario where they just do shows that they either have to be at or you have to buy the DVD after. Right. Who knows what their plan is. But MLW, they just had their Fusion, recent episode of Fusion. I guess they had new tag champs announced. If I'm looking at these articles, if they're up to date. Yeah, 515 defeated Lost Parks, LA Park, and El Hijo del LA Park in a Philly street fight. Now, I only bring up this event. This is kind of, again, we got to get into MLW because I know they also have your knockoff favorite brand, Azteca Underground.
I really need to watch that.
The shock in all of this was there was a singles match in which Enzo, formerly Enzo Amore, appeared, made his debut in MLW. Looks a little, I don't want to say rag. Yo, his hair's longer. Beard's still, I mean, he's Enzo.
Yeah.
Probably more jacked too, because I know he looked very scrawny in WWE.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it's taken him this long to do that.
Well, I know he had some other projects, and then he was doing independent stuff for a little while, but yeah, I don't know if he's signed or if he just had, because I know that if I remember correctly, that MLW is doing like an open door policy. You don't have to have a contract, but you're able to go in and have a match or two. So if that's what this is, then that's still fine. I know Enzo in the past has had some issues with people. But if he's come to play and actually gonna wrestle, or even hell, if he's even just gonna talk on the mic, then I'm all for it. I was always a big fan of his, like, because I love people who can talk well on a mic.
Yep.
And Enzo could run a circle around 99% of the people out there in wrestling. So I was always entertained by that. Huh?
I said you can't teach that. Yeah, no. I'm glad to see him back. Again, MLW got to get my hands in at some point. Oh, we could be going back and forth about that all over again. Another little piece of news. Brett Lauderdale, owner of GCW, there's an article out there you can find, said that he will not strip Jon Moxley of the GCW championship. Says he's going to be champion until somebody beats him. He explained he won the gold. Yeah. Oh, that's it. That's really it. Just a sentence. I thought it was gonna be a little more exciting. But he's, he made this comment. I think it's I can see where talent backstage might get a little frustrated, but also like probably get a big pop when he shows back up.
Yeah, I mean, it's always nice when someone who goes down for something that he's able to make a decision that he needs help, so he went out and got it. I do like this move that they're not going to strip him of the title. He's going out getting help. It's not like he's getting in trouble or anything. So I do applaud this move, and I'm sure that once he comes back, yeah, like you said, that first pop's going to be insane.
Yeah. Him, Kenny, next year, let me tell you, the returns we'll have next year are going to be absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
So we're going to get right into this. We have some really cool, trying to cover as much as possible for you guys. We're going to start with NWA Power. This was on the 8th. I had a problem finding this. I'm going off of cagematch.net. I'm going to start here with your weekly results. There was a 6-man tag meet where the Fixers defeated the OGK and Victor Benjamin. Tom Latimer defeated Miguel Robles? That sounds weird. Genocide defeated Paola Blaze. Jack Stain defeated Mims. And then the British Invasion of Doug Williams and Nick Aldis defeated Hawks Erie, which is Luke Hawks and PJ Hawks. Quick review on NWA. Oh, speaking of which, Scott, we have new YouTube content coming out in 2022.
Yes.
For NWA.
I'm so excited for this. Oh my God.
Too.
To be able to sit back and watch some more NWA again. Yes, I'm all for it. I will definitely make that time. Hopefully it's at 6:05 again, because yes.
Turner time. Up next, we have the results from New Japan Strong this week. What I like about these hour shows is it gives you just enough wrestling. It's not flooded. It's just enough where you want more, but that extra hour might be dragging. So here we had Jonathan Grisham defeat Gabriel Kidd. United Empire of Will Ospreay, Jeff Cobb, and TJP defeated the LA Dojo of Ren Narita, Carl Fredericks, and Clark Connors. And then there was a never openweight championship match with Tomohiro Ishii defeating and retaining the title against Brody King. Which I feel like that's something that needs to be watched. Hopping over to Thursday night, the night we don't get to watch anymore. Impact. Opening bout, Chris Sabin and Mickie James took on Matthew Reinhold and Deonna Purrazzo, with Reinhold and Purrazzo getting the win, as expected.
As they should.
All
hail.
Okay. We are definitely out of the loop, Scott. There was a no contest in the next match where Rohit Raju took on not Larry D, but Lawrence D.
Uh-oh.
What have we missed now?
We've missed a lot, Sam.
I bet you that's a Wrestle House thing.
Probably.
Finn Juice took on and defeated the Learning Tree, VSK, and Ziggy Dice. There was a street fight between Rhino and Eric Young. Ooh, this looks like a fire episode of Impact. An 8-person tag match, Decay versus the Inspiration and the Influence, with Decay defeating both team. Wait a minute, am I looking at that right?
Yeah, the Inspiration is the Iconics.
Yeah, no, I'm just like looking at the numbers here.
Was it 2-on-4?
No, it was an 8-person.
Then who else has joined Decay that are female?
Nobody. It was Decay. That's a weird.
Oh, that's right. I keep forgetting Impact does intergender wrestling.
Yeah, because I was like looking. I'm like, am I looking at this picture correctly? Like the card here? I'm like, that's the Inspiration, and that's Madison Rayne, and Tennille Dashwood. Yep. I'm like, and that's Havoc, and that's Rosemary, and that's Black Taurus, and that's Crazy Steve. I'm like, am I missing something? And I'm like, no. This makes sense.
This is Impact.
And then
they need to get a better television deal, Sam. They need it.
They
need to watch it again.
Well, you'll be a little upset to know that this main event happened then. The main event was Matt Cardona taking on W. Morrissey.
Ooh.
With Matt Cardona winning via disqualification.
Shocker. I was going to say, like, him beating Morrissey clean would have been one hell of a victory.
Yeah. So, Hard to Kill is coming up. I don't know if we're going to be able to cover that this year because of how early in the year it is, and I will not be around.
Yep.
But Scott might treat you if, he decides, hey, I want to watch this.
Maybe. We'll see.
We can't make promises. But we can make you this promise Wednesday night. Great episode of Dynamite. Let's get right into this. The opening half hour of the show was incredible. Scott's words to me in the middle of this show, or in the middle of this bit, he goes, "This is the Attitude Era."
Yep. Just the fan reaction was just, it brought me back to that time. And I'm just like, oh, man, this is such good shit.
Especially, so the crazy thing here is, like, we have the story of somebody from their hometown wrestling, and the crowd's excited. But This person's a heel, so you're going to expect them to cheer him on anyways. And the music kicks in, and the place blows up. But CM Punk comes out, and I don't think I've ever, since he's come back, have heard him get booed. Especially like this. This may have been one of the loudest. This was louder than a Cody "get the fuck out of here" boo.
Yeah, it was just have him come out and just soak it in once the crowd realized it wasn't MJF, and then him just. Oh my God, it was great. And then he just rags on everything Long Island, including the Islanders.
Specifically the Islanders.
Which was great. Because they hadn't won a match. They hadn't won a game in their brand new arena since they started. They were 0-7. Funny thing enough, this morning I was actually on Twitter before we got on. The Islanders actually won their first game last night. And CM Punk tweets, "I'm a motivational speaker." The Chris Farley skit, where he's living in a van down by the river. I lost it. I was laying in bed just dying laughing. I'm like, this is outstanding. Such great heel work. And he's not even a heel.
It was incredible. He just I don't. What's to say? It was just like the promo was great. And then right into the Diamond Battle Royale, which was pretty good. You and I think even before the match, I'm like, yo, it's got to be. I thought it was gonna be Leo Rush or Dante Martin was gonna be in the end of this. Actually, I thought at one point it'd be both of them because imagine how that feud would have gone.
Yep. Off
the bat. But we got a surprise here.
Nice little swerve at the end.
Where Dante Martin, ripped everything off and attacked he threw out Ricky Starks?
Yes, sir.
He threw out Ricky Starks and Taz bullshit the rest of the night.
He was too. It was great.
Also, never even realized Frankie Kazarian was in this match until he got eliminated.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, Frankie, wait a minute. Wait, he was in this? What? I'm totally missed something there.
Yep. So now it's going to be Dante and MJF. MJF going for a three-peat. Naturally, he was going to be one of the last two remaining because obviously. But next week, I think Dante wins.
I think so.
That's just my thought.
Unless MJF gets dirty with Team Taz.
I mean, that's also possible too.
But yeah, I think again, long-term storytelling, I don't know. But for me, and I think you're on the same page as I, it makes sense for Dante to win this one.
Yes. It's time to continue strapping that rocket to his back.
And it was cool at the end where Ricky Starks is attacking him. And MJF's walking down and he almost has this like, at one moment you're like, is he gonna do this?
Yeah.
Really? Is this gonna happen? And you're sitting there, he's like, he's a fucking heel beyond belief against CM Punk right now. There's no way.
Yep.
Goes in the ring, looks at Ricky, and then they both attack him. And I'm like,
yeah, I love that so much. I love like how MJF's face was when he's walking up the ramp. He's like, should I go? Nah. He walks up to the top of the ramp. He's like, all right, let's go. He runs down the crowd, explodes. Everything's all excited. He runs in the ring. I think he shoved Ricky Starks. And then he looks at Dante. And then immediately just pounds on him. Ricky starts kicking. The whole crowd goes crazy. And then Punk comes back out. Crowd immediately boos CM Punk. Like, I love this. Like, he's immediately like undesirable number one in Long Island. This is great.
Yeah, no.
Booing the shit out of him. And MJF runs away. But yeah, this match next week's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah. And then up that next, we had a pretty entertaining tag match. Jurassic Express and Varsity Blondes taking on the Acclaimed in 2.0. I want to point out before we talk about this match. Cool to see Varsity Blondes again.
Yes.
Always great. Both him and Griff, both Pillman and Griff, great in the ring, great in ring talent. Nothing to say about Jurassic Express that hasn't been said already.
It's true.
2.0, we don't see enough of.
Agreed.
And that's a fact of life. There was something you tweeted a couple months ago, Scott. I don't think the Acclaims can make me like them anymore. And I hate to say that. Or something bits. Because for a long time, we weren't really fond of the Acclaimed. We're just like,
nope.
But their in-ring ability has gotten really good.
Yep.
Also, if you're looking at his raps and going, oh, they're bad, he shouldn't be doing that, and not understanding that they're intentionally supposed to be bad,
it's true.
You're missing. I'm curious what the line that got me, and we don't have to get into it. The line that just got me. He made a comment about the Cuomos in his rap. And I rolled so hard.
Oh, man. Yeah. just yeah, for a while, like you're right. For a while, a lot of his raps were just like, this is hot garbage. Like not even trying to be bad hot garbage. It was just hot garbage. And then he said that one thing that he shouldn't have said. Then he went away for a while, came back, and now it's been pretty much fire. So every time I hear that music and I'm like, all right, here we go. This should be fun.
Yeah, no, it was laughed my ass off. It was very top. That was the other thing too. He tries to be topical, very topical. But overall, this was a fun match to watch. You know, I love how I always get. I don't know why I get so excited when 2.0 comes out of nowhere, and it's like, oh yeah, 2.0 are going to be wrestling, or we got an interview with 2.0, and I'm like, yes, I need to hear both of them on the because they're great in the ring, but also again, those two are great on the mic.
Yes.
But Jurassic Express and Frosty Blondes obviously got the defeat over them. We up next had another tag match. The Young Bucks taking on Rocky Romero and Chuck Taylor, which was pretty exciting in itself. The Young Bucks defeated Taylor and Romero. But, you know, the Bucks weren't done doing what they were doing. But somebody's minivan drove up.
As soon as I don't think I've been so excited to see a minivan show up on a television show in a very long time, maybe if ever. But by God, Sue and Trent are back. Beretta losing all his hair, shaved it all off. I'm like, okay, but you're back. Yes.
Yes, really. It was exciting. A lot to do with Rocky Romero. You know, we've had Tomohiro Ishii. We're having Rocky. I'm just waiting, Scott. I got the thing of gasoline in my garage ready to go.
Just waiting for that coin drop.
Then up next we had Rio and Jamie Hayter taking on each other, with Rio defeating Hayter. This was great. This is another good match. I actually enjoyed this one.
I like the build that they're doing for Rio with Britt, and Jamie Hayter is no slouch in the ring.
No.
Very entertaining, like you said. I thoroughly enjoyed this one as well.
Yeah. It was good. I'm looking forward to what's going to happen in the coming, weeks when this tournament comes to an end, as well as, this title match. It's crazy. At Winter is Coming, we still have Serena Deeb taking on Hikaru Shida.
Yep. That's been a great feud.
Great matches. Like it comes out of nowhere, and maybe they're doing stuff on Dark and Elevation, but like all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, they're taking on each other again, and I'm like, what? Did I miss something? But also they're spacing them out really well. It's not like, oh, you're getting them again.
The next
week.
And then the week after.
Next week.
And then the week after. But this time in a 6-man tag. Oh, okay.
And then the solo again the following week.
Right. Wow. I'm like, what is this? WWE Universe mode? What the fuck's going on?
Yeah. So it was good. I'm trying to think if there was any other promos that we missed that I thought was really good.
Yes. Coming out on Rampage, Taz had himself a lovely little announcement. It's time to send Hook.
Yes, we had Hook's debut, which we will talk about.
Yes.
We will talk about that shortly. We also had the announcement in February. Was it March? I don't know anymore. I think it's March 6th in Orlando. Revolution.
Yes.
Scott, I can't believe we're talking about Revolution 3 right now.
I know. I love that this company is doing well. It's real nice to see.
Really Sunday, good. March 6th.
Another Sunday. See, I'm getting used to Saturday pay-per-views.
Man, it's gonna be a late
That's good. Yeah, that's gonna
be a
be
late record.
Late record for that one.
But let's talk about this exciting main event.
Oh my God.
Bryan Danielson taking on John Silver. There's always a method to the madness here.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like each member of the Dark Order who has wrestled Bryan Danielson may in some ways be one of their best singles matches they've ever had.
Oh, I agree.
I think this was also a good way to showcase that team single-handedly.
Yep.
And they look great. Let me tell you, John Silver, probably one of my favorite members of the Dark Order. This was a fun match to watch.
It was. I love, first of all, seeing John Silver in the main event.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, Danielson deserves to be there always, but, like you said, a good way to showcase the majority of the Dark Order. I think the only person he didn't wrestle was 10.
He didn't wrestle 10. I don't think he wrestled
Alex
Reynolds.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. But I'd love to see that too. Those two matches as well at some point. Obviously, probably not with this storyline because next week is the championship match. And I expect this one to burn the house down. I don't care if winter's coming or not. There's going to be an inferno going on during this match.
I am upset that they changed the poster on this one. I was looking forward to Wangman.
No, yeah, no more Wangman.
Danielson. But this was good. John Silver obviously got the W. Got the L.
I was going to say,
Danielson got the W. Yeah. No, I thought you said Silver from went, wow, okay, I need to sleep. This was enjoyable. Danielson killer promo at the end saying he did everything that he said he was going to do, and he's going to do the same thing next week.
He's going to stomp the cowboy shit out of you. I was like, what a line.
Yeah. Danielson, and I know we say it every week. Danielson, this may be one of the best, if not the best run he's ever had in his career.
This is peak Bryan Danielson.
Yeah, that's no joke. And I know there's a lot of people out there listening like, well, I guess you didn't watch him when he wrestled the first time in WWE. Sure, I wasn't watching wrestling at the time. I'm very familiar with that time, and I've watched a lot of it.
But notice how I said this is peak Bryan Danielson.
Uh-huh.
Not Daniel Bryan.
Yes. Yeah.
Separate those two.
Gotta remember, Bryan Danielson's been wrestling for years.
It's true.
He's not a WWE guy as much as people want to say. I think people forget that.
Oh.
I hate that moniker. You're a WWE guy. It's like, well, there's only been one company pretty much for 20 years.
Yep.
So, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. You want to talk about WWE guys, you look at John Cena. You look at Randy Orton. You can look at Batista, Triple H, The Rock. Yes, there are WWE guys. Bryan Danielson is not one of them. If anything, he's an ROH guy, and we'll talk about that after Rampage.
Mm-hmm. And I think that needs to be pointed out here while we're on the discussion. I could make the argument the only reason that WWE was really good, 2008 to even now, most of their best talent is from Ring of Honor.
Yep.
They're not WWE guys.
Right.
Bryan Danielson, CM Punk. You have
Seth Rollins.
I almost said Tyler Black for some reason.
Well, I mean, that's what he was then.
Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley. Right now, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Ring of Honor guys. Even most of NXT was Ring of Honor.
Yep. I think the only top star that really wasn't was maybe AJ, because AJ was, he was Impact. Samoa Joe would be another one.
But he did wrestle a lot in Ring of Honor as well.
He did, yes.
Yes, Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels.
Yep.
Oh yeah, he never wrestled in WWE. Oh, a dark match on Heat once.
Yeah.
But so a lot to say about we've dedicated time today to talk about Final Battle, guys. So
yep,
just a couple more moments with us, and we will get right into it. So yeah, we had AEW Rampage, which I watched just before we recorded this, Scott. So I made sure I was up to date.
Beautiful.
Good episode. Good episode.
It was.
Opening match: Lucha Brothers defending the AEW tag titles against FTR. And obviously, our boys retained. What's cool about this? There was a good mix here. A really good mix. You know, obviously FTR was doing their thing, but early on in the match, you saw the Lucha Brothers stoop down to the FTR level where they were grappling a lot.
Yeah.
Good mat wrestling from a luchador talent, which makes them that much better.
Yep.
There was a whole bit with the belt in the middle, which was kind of cool. You know, I was like, oh, yeah, they're going to win. And then they hit the Lucha. I'm like, this is not happening.
Yep. Yeah, they did a really good job to get the crowd back into this because this was taped after Dynamite. So the crowd obviously tired after a really good episode of Dynamite. These guys brought them right back. It was great.
Yeah. Yeah, so great. The tag team wrestling is back with this company. That's like one of my favorite things, which is funny because back, you know, when I did get back into wrestling, for some reason, the tag matches in WWE were the ones that were like, it depended on the tag team. It was like Usos, New Day, awesome.
Yep.
The Bar, surprisingly awesome. Then you're like, oh, we got the Singh brothers. Or the Colones. And you're like, I didn't even realize the Colones were still signed with this company. Whoever did.
The funny part of it is their theme song at the end when they went heel outside of that stupid gimmick they had where they were trying to sell timeshares was really awesome. And I never got to hear it. And it made me very sad. It's another reason why I'm glad I kept WWE 2K19 because they're still in the game and I get to listen to that theme when I want to play it.
But yeah, this was an awesome match. We also had another really good match. Ruby Soho and Ty J taking on Penelope Ford, the Bunny, and Nyla Rose. Yeah, this was done really well, I thought. I believe Nyla Rose got the pin on that.
Yes. Yeah.
But they're really putting some heat against Ruby going to that TBS tournament match.
Yes. Yeah, with Ruby and Nyla. That should be. I still don't know who's going to win that. I know we're fully on the, you know, Jade or Thunder Rosa winning, but I don't know. This could be very interesting. I kind of hope Ruby wins, finds a way to get a sneaky pin on Nyla because Nyla's been in the title picture and the crowd is not a really big fan of her. So I don't know. We'll see.
That would be interesting. Or you have Nyla win, and like you said, she's already held the title, and then she loses to whoever wins the other one.
I feel like if Nyla wins, Jade's gonna win, and then we're gonna have those two beasts go after one another.
But they're both heels,
right?
So I guess okay.
But they've had issues with one another, so it would make sense for them to fight each other for a title.
Okay.
But then of course, how you go with the heel face thing, which is AEW's done a really good job at that, keeping it pretty separated between who's a heel, who's a face. So, yeah, like I said, it's kind of like up in the air. I don't know who's going to win either one of these matches, and I actually like that a lot.
Yeah. I mean, logically speaking, if you looked at it from like a black and white perspective, it would either be, the final would be Ruby Soho taking on Jade Cargill or Nyla Rose taking on Thunder Rosa.
Right.
And it might not be that. It might be Ruby Soho and Thunder Rosa.
Yeah, two faces, and they have history too. So it's like,
but they've gone like the Ring of Honor route, where it's like, you know, yeah, we can do two faces wrestling each other. You know, they do the code of honor. They shake hands, they go at it, and then they hug it out at the end. Very perfect. I love that. It's always difficult with heel versus heel some days.
It's true.
The only feud I can really think, not that it was like anti-hero versus anti-hero, The Rock and Stone Cold.
Yeah.
Were either of them really ever faces during that time period? Anti-heroes.
Yeah.
That's what the people wanted then. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we had the debut match of Hook taking on Fuego del Sol. My first thought, I was a little concerned about this. So I saw the ESPN stuff coming in, Hook looks so good, this and that. And I'm like, who'd he wrestle? They didn't mention, and no article mentioned who he wrestled. So I'm like, then he went, he's going to wrestle Fuego. And I'm like, okay, I mean, it's going to be a squash, but okay. Because that's what I figured. Boy, that wasn't the case.
No?
First and foremost, before we get into the prime subject here, this definitely showed off Fuego's potential. He looked great.
Yes.
Yeah, did he do the job? He did the job, but he didn't look like a jobber doing it.
Correct.
He looked very professional, he's very talented, very talented.
I'm very happy he's there.
And Hook, first match, I don't think he's wrestled ever.
No, I believe you are correct.
He did judo and whatnot. How old is he? He's not even that old.
He's 22.
Yeah, so he's 22. This is his first match. He looked like a pro.
He looked real good. I'm not going to go overboard how a lot of people have been, because it's his first match. Yes, he did amazing work, technical work. He looked real good. I do love how Taz was both excited for his son and yet still professional about watching his son wrestle his first match.
Mm-hmm. Especially being the heel, kind of like, yeah, it worked. The dynamic worked really well. And we talk about pillars of building a new company. Some days you're like, okay, yeah, this is just a father giving his son the in the industry. But in some cases, it's like, I mean, again, we'll go back to The Rock. The Rock was the son of Rocky Johnson.
Yep.
His grandfather was a wrestler. Yeah, and maybe it looked like that at first. Like, oh, it's just another privileged former wrestler's son getting a chance to be in the ring. But again, we know how the Rock story is gone.
Yeah,
where he might be the most popular, most famous, and richest wrestler to ever exist. And I'm not gonna say Hook's gonna do the same thing, but his debut was very spectacular.
It was done real well. I love the little nuances where he gets in the ring and the first thing after Fuego's already in there, he literally just puts his back to him, like the disrespect. I love it.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward. He could be another future pillar as well.
Could be. I definitely want to see more. I hope this is not just a one-hit wonder. A lot of these things obviously have to do with their opponents. Fuego can make anybody look like $1 billion, but who knows, the next person he faces doesn't do so well. Who knows? We'll see.
I got an idea for you, Scott. I'm going to pitch this right now. Fantasy booking, if you want. There's a lot of younger talent that's really good.
Yes.
Really good. We don't get to see enough of. A lot of them are pretty young. What if AEW held a super card where it only showcased new talent or up-and-coming talent under a certain age? So, I'll throw it out there. Looking at everybody involved, well, that's tough because some of them are pushing that age. All newer talent under the age of 30. I was going to say 25, but I know MJF is pushing 25. So it gives you a chance. It's Darby, MJF, Jungle Boy, Dante Martin, Hook, Lee Moriarty, you have more Ty Conti, Red Velvet. You are able to showcase the newer faces.
I like it. I think that would be very beneficial to the new kids. Definitely get them a lot more exposure. I know a lot of these people are already on television, already doing great things, but you can even dig deeper into that. You know, people we haven't really seen a lot. Those people who are buried on, not really buried, but right now they're on Dark and Dark Elevation. You know, pull in some new faces, see what happens, and see if you strike gold.
Yeah, and I'm not saying you sit there and like put a lot of focus on. I mean, you can even do it with general talent too. You know, talent you don't see who are still older, because there's a lot of older talent out there still that hasn't made its break where they should.
Right.
But this newer talent that has more time on the clock, you can showcase them. And maybe, I mean, look what happened to Daniel Garcia. Like, he's come out of nowhere.
True.
It's like anytime, like, you just, or even Dante Martin. I mean, Dante Martin's kind of been there, but he's also like, he's a big name now.
He is. I know. It's
weird if he's not on an episode of Dynamite.
It is true. Yeah. Like, I remember when him and Darius came in, and I'm just like, oh, cool, another young tag team. This should be good. And they were both doing real well. And then obviously Darius got injured, and I'm like, oh, what? And of course my brain went to like how WWE standards are. If you're in a tag team and one of your partners gets injured, you're gone. Like, you will sit on the sideline until your partner's healed. It's not what they did here with Dante. Dante went in and immediately just started blowing shit up. And now he's a mainstay in the main event, essentially.
Yeah, and I think it'd be kind of cool, kind of beneficial, something really exciting to. And yeah, like I said, you could do it with the older talent. Like Wheeler Yuta's an up and coming face too, but he's 33. So you could do something like Wheeler Yuta. You could do something with, and I don't know what the criteria would be at that point. I just think, if you put these, not that I don't like what we're seeing now, but like the opportunity to be like, hey, we're going to just showcase new people.
Yeah.
People who are here that exist. I don't know. Just throwing ideas out there, Scott. Tony, if you're listening, that's above the ring idea. Now, we had another awesome, main event. I can't even call them main events because I think we figured out at this point that the main event on every one of these shows is the opener.
It's true.
So, Adam Cole taking on Wheeler Yuta. I want to point something out here. Really want to point something out here. So when they're on the screen, and both teams are side by, doing the thing with Mark Henry, and they're doing a little back and forth. Trent says, "Hey, shouldn't this promo be about me because I came back?" And then they start kind of like bickering, and then Wheeler Yuta steps in and what that, and he calls Adam Cole Baby, and Adam Cole loses his shit. I want to point out the Trent thing because also when they come out, Trent looked a little awkward when Wheeler Yuta went to go like fist bump at me. Just looked a little odd. He was just like,
Are you planting seeds for Trent turning on his best friends?
I don't know. Maybe, I mean, Wheeler Yuta came into the picture after Trent got injured.
That is very true.
Originally, it was obviously Trent Beretta and Chucky T. Actually, now I'm curious. Hold a second. Folks, bear with me because I need to make sure I'm confirming what I'm. This might be a short-lived thing then, potentially.
Interesting. Because now you're talking about potential chaos within the best friends.
Mm-hmm. Nope. Trent is also a member of Chaos.
Trent was the first member of Chaos from this group, and then everybody else was brought in. He's
been in there a long time.
Been a while, yeah.
2013. Toriano and Tomohiro Ishii are the longest members, going to April 23rd, 2009.
Wow.
Okada has only been in there since 2012, but Trent was in there in 2013. So it's
So much chaos.
So much chaos. So much chaos.
But no, that's interesting. I heard him when he said that, but I didn't see the entrance part. I might have been tweeting something, but that's interesting.
Yeah, if you go back and watch, he looked a little awkward when he went to go do the fist bump. So there could be some chaos within chaos.
I mean, that would make sense since the group's name is Chaos.
Yeah. But maybe there's only one person who can keep that chaos united.
It's true.
But before I could ramble about that all day. So Adam Cole took on Wheeler, Yuta. Yuta always looked incredible. Cole looks incredible. Great match. Cole got the win, as expected, baby.
For like the back half of this match, I really feel like this was not really Adam Cole versus Wheeler Yuta. This was Adam Cole versus Orange Cassidy.
Oh yeah, he was taunting him so hard.
Yeah. So I mean, if that's going to be the next feud, I'm all for it because that's going to be amazing. But I felt like there was a lot of disrespect towards Wheeler Yuta here because Adam Cole just kept doing things and then turning towards Orange Cassidy. It's like, son of a bitch. How dare you?
Yeah. No. It was funny because I noticed he was doing the kicks at one point. I'm like, wow, he's taunting Cassidy. That better be a pay-per-view match.
Oh yeah, maybe
it better be Revolution.
Yep.
Yeah, but this was a good week. We got winners coming. Good card, stacked card on that one.
Agreed.
But we're going to talk about something I think that needs to be talked about. Scott surprised me. I was at a Friendsgiving. Let me tell you. A side note: the word Friendsgiving, I don't like it.
No.
And I like friends. Don't get me wrong, but Friendsgiving, it's something about that doesn't sit well with me.
Okay.
It's weird. Maybe it's a millennial thing. Maybe it's like, we're all friends. It's a fucking Thanksgiving with your friends. Like, I don't know.
People like combining things into two. You know how this works now. You know, when people are dating, they combine their names. So this is the same
and
thing
their
with
Facebooks. Yeah, I got it.
Trust issues, red flags.
So, Final Battle took place this weekend.
Yes, sir.
In Baltimore. The end of an era. Scott, like I said, surprised me by even like he was tweeting and he's like, Sam, this show's incredible. What do you mean, what show? I'm like, you got it, didn't you? He's like, yeah. He was like excited.
I was on the fence about this for like the last few days. It was just like, it might be the final ROH show. Do I want to get it? Then I thought about it and said, well, maybe there'll be some surprises. I mean, that could always be fun. And then I was, just going on Twitter around like, I don't know, 6:30 last night on Saturday, just looking at different things. And I came across a few people that I trust upon when it comes to sources and stuff like that. And they were like, oh, there's some interesting names here tonight. This could be an interesting show. I'm like, all right, sold. Bought it, and boy, did I enjoy. Definitely worth the $30 I paid. Definitely worth it.
Yeah, and this was like I said, as I'm seeing things coming in, I did kind of keep an eye on Twitter. Certain things. This seemed like it was like the last Nitro. I will always compare it to the last Nitro. Still a lot of uncertainty. Like we said, there's going to be a Super Card of Honor. They're saying in April, but we still don't know. They really haven't clarified what they're doing.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot being planted here.
There is. Yeah, there definitely was.
So let's get it out of the way, Scott. I think first and foremost, one of the big things that happened was they had all throughout the night, thank you Ring of Honor videos from talent all over the globe.
Yep.
I know obviously the Young Bucks was a big one that came up.
Yep.
Oh man, I wish I had it. I wish I had that listed. I had a list earlier.
Was trying to remember all of them. We had Jimmy Jacobs. We had Hangman Adam Page. We had CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, the Bucks.
Up, I got the list. Nope, yeah, that's the card.
Trying to think of who else. But yeah, it was nice to see a lot of AEW talent there to help to give their thanks. Obviously, Impact as well. Eddie Edwards was another one. But yeah, no WWE guys. Surprise, surprise. They did tweet out. Some of them did tweet out a few things on Instagram and whatnot. So there were some people out there thanking, but it would have been nice to see them. But obviously, we all know how that works out. But yeah, it was nice. I'm a little upset that I missed the pre-show. Apparently, that started at 7. I did get a notification on my Facebook about it, but I thought it was just going to be like a video. I didn't realize there were 3 matches that I missed. So
yeah, and my understanding, I think the 10-man tag was guest commentated by Danhausen.
yes, it's very evil.
Very evil. So I'll go through the pre-show matches. I'm going to kick this over to Scott because Scott was the only person who, Scott live tweeted and actually watched it. So the opening pre-matches, we had The Righteous, which was Vincent, Bateman, and Dutch taking on Shane Taylor Promotions of Con Moses and O'Shea Edwards. And that's for, the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team. I forgot they have a 6-man tag.
I know, I did too. I was like, oh yeah, that's right.
Miranda Elise and the Allure defeated Chelsea Green and the Hex. And then PJ Black, Flip Gordon, and Brian Milana's Beer City Bruiser and world famous CB defeated LSG, Sledge, Max the Impaler. It goes under that name now. I'm like, who's world famous CB? I covered over it. It's Cheeseburger.
Cheeseburger. Yeah.
Woo. Defeated LSG, Sledge, Max the Impaler, Demonic Flamita, and Will Ferrara. And that was the pre-show. Scott, let's get into the meat and potatoes here.
So our first match of the night was Dragon Lee taking on Ray Horace. Now, I'll be honest, about 50% of this card, I actually had never watched these guys wrestle before. So I knew going into it that it would be an interesting experience. It's like going to a new, local promotion that you've never seen before. So it's like you don't know some of the names. But I was real impressed by both these guys. The one thing I do love about ROH is that they dig into people's pasts. And they talk about their connections with one another. They explain things like during another match, they were explaining why there are ladders underneath the ring. Like we need to change light bulbs sometimes, guys. I'm just like, that's a perfect explanation. It's like, what the hell?
Why else would you need them?
Exactly. So Dragon Lee gets the big win here in the first match. And I mean, this was, a hair over 11 minutes. And I was like, I wanted this to go longer. Like, I really enjoyed it. It was fantastic. We then went on to a 4-corner survivals match for the ROH World Television Championship. It was Dalton Castle defending the title versus Rhett Titus, who's been there forever. I remember watching Rhett Titus when I first started watching ROH a long time ago. I'm like, holy shit, he's still here. Silas Young, who's another one that I did remember. And then Joe Hendry. Right as I stopped watching or stopped having the opportunity to watch ROH, Joe was just about to come in. Apparently he came in, wrestled a little bit right before the pandemic, and then disappeared for 2 years. But he came in and had this match. Fantastic match. Rhett Titus defeating all 3 men and becoming the quote-unquote final ROH World Television Champion. So that was a big win for him. We then had another type of match that I've never seen. Either that or I was so young that I didn't remember it, but it was a battle for the ROH Pure Championship. Now, the Pure Championship rules are a little different. You have a 60-minute time limit, and they actually show the clock. You are only allowed to have 3 rope breaks After the third, it doesn't matter. If you're somebody trying to submit you, you can tap out and while in the ropes. You're only allowed one closed hand punch. There were some other rules too that they didn't really dig into, but I was like amazed by like these subtle changes made this match so much better. It was Josh Woods taking on Bryan Johnson. Johnson coming out with his persona of Mecha versus everybody, and it was great. Like he came out, he had this great promo thanking like a whole bunch of legends from ROH, and he said all of it didn't matter because I'm the Mecha, and it's just like what a great heel promo. But this match was heavy hitting. Bryan Johnson using 2 of his rope breaks within the first minute and a half of this match, and I'm just like, ooh, intriguing. I like this. He ends up using his third one later on, but Josh Woods able to grab him in, I believe, was a front-facing chokehold while in the ropes. Bryan Johnson couldn't do a damn thing about it, and he ends up passing out. Match ends. Josh Woods retains his title. I was like, I'm angry because I want to see more of these matches. Apparently, John Grisham was the one who brought this title back. And so now I'm just like, well, now I need to go back and watch like the last, I don't know, 3 years of ROH to see what's happening here.
Which, to my understanding, he brought it back. So I wonder if that's what he's going to be doing with his new promotion.
Maybe. I mean, he's not the champion now, but when he was, I think he held it for over a year, I believe they said. I would like to see these types of matches more often.
Yeah.
But matches that I have seen in the past and matches that I thoroughly love more are fights without honor. This match, Shane Taylor of Shane Taylor Promotions taking on Kenny King. Now, obviously, I didn't know much about the history of these two. They had a beautiful opening package explaining exactly what was going on. And then I'm just like, give me. I want this. And this match was a fucking war. Holy shit. At one point, towards the very end, they were fighting on top of a ladder. And the ladder was positioned between the apron and the barricade. Kenny King's on one end, Shane Taylor's on the other. And Shane kind of like waves over to the young boys that are running around, and he's like, hold this ladder. So I'm like, oh God, like Shane Taylor is not a small man.
Yep.
By any. And they're fighting and they're beating the crap out of each other. And then he puts Kenny King into a package pile driver, jumps up, the ladder gives. He effectively pile drove Kenny King's head into the concrete below from probably a good 5-6 feet. Like I leapt off my couch because I thought Kenny King was dead. This match was ridiculous. I know, like Sam, you said you didn't see this, but when you have the opportunity, if you want to buy it, I believe it's probably still available, or if they have the DVD, this match for me, best fight of the night, best wrestling match of the night comes a little later, but this was the best fight of the night, and I loved it so much. Shane Taylor does end up getting the victory. After the match, the rest of Shane Taylor Promotions comes down to the ring. They're all celebrating. And then he gets a jersey, puts it on Kenny King, and they have like this big embrace at the end. So I'm just like, all right, well, obviously all their problems are done. Sometimes you just got to beat the shit out of one another, and then you're fine.
Rightfully so.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was just amazing. We then had a singles match for the ROH Women's World Championship. It was Roxy taking on and defeating Willow Nightingale. I'd seen Willow wrestle in Massachusetts when I still lived down there, and she was fantastic then. She's equally as awesome now. this was the first time I've actually ever seen Roxy wrestle, and yes, this woman is a star in the making.
Now,
best part about this was after this match, and I think this might have been where maybe you were going, Sam.
I was gonna say this is where I heard all the fun stuff started in the pay-per-view.
This is when shit started to happen. After Roxy starts celebrating, Deonna Purrazzo shows up. Music hits. I was like, oh my God, what's happening? Deonna challenges Roxy for the ROH Women's Championship after she takes on Mickie James at Hard to Kill. Deonna's taking all the belts. or, and this is the kicker, if Deonna wins against Mickie James, this match will be a winner takes all. This could be the moment Roxy decides to just take everything and just skyrockets. And I will be on that ride with her. Holy shit.
What if... No, we're going to continue this because I want to play around with some things now because there's more of what's going on here. And I want to propose something, but let's continue. I know we have 3 more matches to talk about here.
The next match was an 8-man tag match between V-Lance Unlimited, which is Brody King Homicide and Tony Deppen with Rocky Romero, taking on EC3, Eli Isom, Taylor Rust, and Tracy Williams. And I gotta say, when EC3 made his entrance, I'm like, my God, your abs can make Finn Balor blush.
I saw that.
Christ.
I saw that.
It was just ridiculous. And this match was literally an ode to everybody who came before them in ROH. They hit finishing moves from people that I'd forgotten were in ROH. It was great. A major like plug to the announcers and the commentators for calling back these matches and saying who used to use these moves. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is fantastic. But V-Lance Unlimited end up getting the victory here. After that, EC3 gets the mic, and then more stuff starts to happen. He effectively calls for a call to arms for anybody who feels oppressed by corporate wrestling, as he calls it. Well, he's true. They're not bound to any 3-letter wrestling companies. They're here to take back and control the narrative. And I'm just like, here we go. We start seeing people start to file in the back, and I notice Alexander Wolf. I'm like, oh great, all right, that's another person I actually know. This is fun. And then I believe it was Eli Isom that was in the ring still. And EC3 said, release the Titan. And then, for those of you who recognize this man, the man formerly known as Braun Strowman showed up and destroyed everybody that outside of EC3's group. So then that shock happens. The internet explodes. I'm like freaking out because I thought this was fit. These last like 4 matches were the reason why I was so very happy to buy this pay-per-view. No offense to the other ones, but the constant stuff that happened was just planting those seeds, and it's just, yeah. So after the destruction happens to V-Lance Unlimited, every member of EC3's little group picks up a person and they walk out with them. So EC3's narrative were his. Well, they say that they're not a faction. They're just trying to open everybody's eyes. Well, it looks like they just gained 3 more people. So we'll see. Who knows? It's going to be a lot of fun.
That's it. Yeah. And that was the thing when I think that's when you initially texted me.
Yeah.
That was the one we freaked out.
Yeah. When I just text you 3 capital letters, something's happening.
And again, this is the last Ring of Honor show.
Yep.
So this plenty to talk about here.
We don't know where he's going to show up now, and with all these extra people that they've taken. So it's.
What if Ring of Honor becomes a governing body rather than a company? They become the new NWA.
I don't know.
They had that power. They were the driving force of the independent scene.
It's true. I don't know. There's a lot of good things coming. Our semi-main event tag team match for the ROH Tag Team Championships. It was them boys, Briscoe brothers, taking on the OGK, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett, who actually brought back Maria for this match. We got to listen to the old theme, Something About You, and I was just like, yes. Outstanding match. Obviously, the Briscoes, there's nothing you can't say that already hasn't been said about this group. And it was real nice to see Matt Taven and Mike Bennett actually having a wrestling match. At one point, I believe Bennett speared his own wife on the apron, which was kind of hilarious. And then the Briscoes got the win. It took them multiple finishers to get Taven to stay down, but the Briscoes win and they become the 12-time ROH champions, tag team champions. Very fitting. But then the lights go out, Sam.
More shenanigans.
And I'm just like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden the lights come back on and you just see a fist. And FTR shows up. And I'm like, oh my God. So Briscoe's on one end, FTR on the other. They've been talking so much trash to one another over the last 3 weeks. And then somebody just like threw that light, that match into this ring and fire. Both teams just start beating the hell out of one another. They're fighting inside and outside of the ring. They brought in security, other wrestlers. Didn't matter. They were fighting. FTR gets in the ring, grabs the belts. And of course, at that point, I'm like, no! They put the belts down at the end, and the Briscoes are trying to get their belts back, and FTR then dives, goes out the sides, comes out, brawls some more, and I'm freaking out even more. This for me was a highlight of the night for a surprise debut, I guess. Because you and I had been talking about this, how we need to see the Briscoes and FTR fight. It looks like, obviously, now this is going to happen. Where? Probably AEW, I would assume. Will the ROH Tag Team Championships be on the line? I hope these titles are still defended, even though the company's on quote-unquote hiatus. I don't know. But, yeah. So then we had our main event. Obviously, Bandito, who is the current ROH champion, had tested positive for COVID-19, so he was not able to appear. So at the last minute, Tony Khan graciously allowed Jay Lethal to go back to Ring of Honor, because at first, Jay Lethal was not supposed to be part of this show. He said openly, since he signed, that he would not come back. But for this match, it was Jay Lethal versus John Grisham for the original Ring of Honor World Championship. The big old ROH red letters, the title belt that I remember. This was also the first time I've ever seen Jonathan Grisham wrestle. And I understand now. I understand now why people are so in love with this man. And these two put on the wrestling match of the night. Just, they worked body parts. They both were technical submission stuff. You could see like the work that Jonathan Grisham was doing on Jay Lethal's arm. He couldn't do the lethal injection halfway through the match. It was flawless. This was a flawless match. Within like the last minute, the entire ROH locker room emptied out. And they're all smashing the apron, just rooting these two men on. And Grisham able to get Jay Lethal to submit to the octopus stretch. And I was just like, what a fitting end. Grisham pops up after the submission, all obviously super excited. They give him the belt. Jordynne Grace was there. She was in the ring with him. So was Baron Black, I guess, was another close friend of his. And it was just a beautiful way to end this show and to end the era for ROH. What happens now come April, I don't know. I'm hoping for the best, but if this is the end, this was a fantastic way to send them off. Now I know that they still have their Christmas special that they have that's already been taped and that will be coming out as well. But this was I believe the end of their live wrestling, and a very fitting way for this to go out.
Yeah, it's weird too. This is where there are questions that are going to be had, especially with Deonna Purrazzo and FTR. Well, FTR kind of makes sense because they've been teasing it. So they already can have a feud elsewhere.
Yep.
We already know where it's actually they could have feud in 2 different places, technically.
Yep.
They could wrestle in AEW. They can go to AAA.
They can also go to GCW because the Briscoes are also the tag team champions over there as well.
So they have options. So this one kind of makes sense. This is a storyline that's starting that's can't continue.
It's been going for almost a month now, which is wonderful in its own right.
The Titan Adam Shear showing up.
Yep.
Which probably was the least expected.
Yeah, definitely did not expect that whatsoever.
And now you're with EC3, who's formed what looks like this faction.
The massive group now. They don't want to call themselves a faction. There was a video that came out this morning. I should have sent it to you, but it was just EC3 explaining basically what they are and how they're not here to be, invaders. They're here to set people free. It's just, yeah. If I can find it, I'll send it to you so you can see it. But
that almost sounds like Violent by Design in a little bit.
Almost.
Just just a little sprinkling of ideas there. But yeah, this, even with the show that they have scheduled in April, there's still a lot of, and as you can see, my glasses have come off since we've talked about this. I thought this was a very intimate moment we need to discuss about. I'm really curious what happens.
Yeah.
I still stick by my governing body statement.
I think that's a good idea. I do.
Or like your governing body / you're like, come back and do what you were doing, but be able to do it where all this other talent can come in. Kind of like a
like almost an open door policy.
A heavy open door policy where it's an independent promotion still, but it's okay. So AEW does technically 2 shows a week, not including the tape stuff. You're able to go to Ring of Honor. You're able to do these tours like War of the Worlds, Global Wars. You go to Final Battle. You'll be able to do these events. But it's almost like it's one of those opportunities where, yeah, you're signed to AEW. You can do whatever you want. But if nothing sticks out for you, hey, here's another promotion that we run.
Right.
That you have a chance to like hone in your skills and, be part of something if you don't feel like you're getting enough TV time on like Dynamite.
Right.
And then you could do like co-promoted shows. I don't know. It's really like the fact that we're now talking about what is potentially the last Ring of Honor event.
Yeah.
And that we finished talking about it.
Yep.
Now it's setting it.
Yeah. Like I remember after the show ended last night, I just sat on my couch and just kind of stared at the television, and I'm just like, that could be it. That could be the end of it. Like I remember going back when I was younger, just randomly putting on television, like changing channels at like 2-3 o'clock in the morning. God knows why I'm up, but I'm up. And I remember seeing ROH. And I'm just like, oh, another wrestling promotion. This is interesting. Why is it on so late? But whatever. I'm still going to watch it. And who's sitting in the ring? Kevin Steen. This was the goodbye to Kevin Steen episode. And I'm just like, oh my God. Like, because the moment he started talking, I'm like, where's he going? I immediately was like, I need to know where this man is going. Because I was not a big person in the indies when I was younger. Like, I honestly didn't really understand like where they came from. I didn't have a lot of friends that were really into wrestling. I was kind of on my own at my age trying to figure out what was around. just randomly. That's how I discovered ECW back in the day. Same thing, just flipping the channels late at night, and oh, what's this? Oh, another wrestling promotion. Oh, let's see what this is about.
Yeah, and I especially with somebody like I mean the only thing you had like at that point in time was what? TNA?
TNA was a thing. I was WCW in WWE. That was my life. That's what I thought wrestling was when I was younger. I didn't have a damn clue about New Japan. I didn't know about anything in Mexico, nothing in Canada, the indies, no idea. I didn't find out about the indie scene until I went to college, and that was in the early 2000s. And I'm like, holy Christ, what have I just discovered? Why did I not know about this when I was younger? And I hate myself for it because I wish I would have gone out and did more digging so that way I could discover more stuff. Because I've watched wrestling for 30 plus years, but I feel like I've only watched it for like 10. Because now I'm able to see a whole lot more stuff. And, like meeting you, like all of a sudden now I'm just like, I have a plethora of more stuff that I want to talk about with wrestling because Sam watches it too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's this is a moment.
Yeah.
This is a moment. This is something I think I'm even right now that we've stopped talking about. I'm like sitting here just thinking. Well, what I will say is if anyone from that company is listening to this podcast, we definitely want to thank you for your incredible contribution for the past almost 20 years.
Yep, absolutely.
Ring of Honor was definitely something that helped me change my perspective on wrestling isn't just sports entertainment.
Right.
I've been to 3 Ring of Honor shows. I enjoyed every single one of them.
Mm-hmm.
It helped me introduce me to New Japan, the Bullet Club, pretty much all AEW. Without Ring of Honor, we wouldn't have AEW.
That's right.
So we're hoping everyone hope for the best, and we know things are going to get better. Whether Ring of Honor is there or not, the industry's growing. The industry is stupid right now.
Yep. I think CM Punk said it best during his video thing. He's like, don't be mad that it's gone. Be happy that it happened. And I'm just like, that makes so much sense. We could all be upset because that's really how the internet wrestling community has been lately. They're just mad at everything. Be happy that we were able to watch this, whether you've watched it for 20 years or last night was the first time you were able to watch ROH. Be happy. You got to see some great people. I got to be introduced myself watching wrestling for 30 plus years. I was able to be introduced to people last night that I'm like, I need to know where these people go now because I will follow them. I will watch them. I will see what happens. Yes. And that for me, watching wrestling for so long and being so enthralled in a show of people, a lot of people that I did not know, that makes me very happy. And it gives me new life to enjoy wrestling even more. It's
an art.
It is. It truly is.
When your favorite band breaks up, you don't ever sit there and be like, well, that's it for music.
Right.
You look for other bands, you look for other albums. You generally see what these other artists go out and create. I will use probably a very famous suggestion. Nirvana. Let's look at Nirvana. Kurt Cobain did what he did back in 94. And, Nirvana fans, and they said that was the death of rock and roll, which I guess in sense, I mean, you can make that argument. But here comes the drummer of Nirvana, Dave Grohl. He wants to write an album with a new band. And 25 years later, let me tell you, the Foo Fighters are still one of the best bands out in the world. And there's other people he's worked with who's introduced. And, he's worked with the younger people. And he's influenced other people who've made other music. Just one example I like to share because it's art. It's art. We appreciate this as an art. We love this. And Ring of Honor has shown how impactful and how amazing art can be when it's done correctly.
Yep.
That being said, guys, thank you so much for listening. As we said, next week is going to be our last episode before Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. The last ATR show of 2021. Scott and I will have a little lowdown of our plans going into 2022. We'll talk about winter is coming. And guys, as always, don't forget, If you don't already do so, please follow us on Twitter at Above the Ring. You can find us on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook as Above the Ring. You can find myself as the SOB Official and Scotty J Stream on Twitter as well. We are on all streaming platforms. If there's something that you cannot find us on, like Discord, cough, cough, please let us know when we can throw ourselves on there. If you don't already do so, when you decide to do so, please make sure you like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, leave a review, tell people why us, Ship It Studios, our partnership, Back to the Ring, wrestling podcast you guys need to check out is the podcast and network of your choosing and why they should listen to us as well. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to ship it. And as always, do not forget to join the Bedlam.